All right. Welcome, friends, to episode 29 of the Q Podcast, a podcast where we're gathering of friends weighing on geek and gaming passion topics. Today is November 8th, 2015. My name is Ben, freeBrunch Thomas. Joining me today is only one friend, because Christian's having some internet problems. Patrick Figfire, a.k.a. Big Boss Figueroa, is here.
What is going on, guys? And Ben, one friend. I mean, let's be honest. We're kind of just work acquaintances, aren't we?
I mean, that's it's a different. That sound scared me. Work friends. It's a different type of friends. If we used Google Plus, we would be in work friend circles.
Yes, that is actually probably the perfect description of us. We're in each other's circle, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how I would say. What happened to Christian, man?
He's like, I think, off the grid.
Off the grid.
He said he
What
lost
a nightmare.
internet, TV for, I guess that's gonna be like 3 days, 72 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, you can't even download books to your Kindle, so like, what do you
Oh
do?
my goodness. I mean, and it's like all those features like, I mean, we talked about a couple weeks ago, YouTube Red, when you have offline mode, you can't even foresee these things, you know? Like, what's the point of having YouTube Red for offline mode if you can't even foresee when you'll go offline?
It's honestly like not a reality that I'm willing to accept, that like all of that could just be gone. The internet. That would just be
Yeah,
really
it's
bizarre.
just his or a whole block. I don't exactly know, but our hearts out to him. We're gonna start a GoFundMe for his house. Like, bring internet to Christian.
Please donate your Extra Life proceeds to Christian's
His address, his home address.
which we will not give out. So I don't know how you're gonna get it to him. DM him on Twitter. Well, I can't even handle it now. Let's talk about Metal Gear Solid. We're just gonna
Okay, we'll
into
jump in. We're gonna start with Metal Gear.
Let's dig in, entrench.
All right, viewers.
First question. So, what made you want to get Metal Gear?
In all honesty, you want to know the real story?
No, I want to. Yeah, I want to know the real story.
And it's funny because my topic is how your friends get you into certain games.
Oh,
And it the sad part is this doesn't really tie in. No offense, you're important.
What, you just like lifted me up and then just
I do.
just did the switcheroo.
So personal note. So I've been gathering Amex points with my credit card, and I haven't really known what to do with them yet. And I ran into an Amazon or a deal that said if you use your Amex points, we'll give you 50% off your entire purchase. And I was just scrolling through my cart, and I was like, well, I guess I'll get Metal Gear Solid.
Nice. Okay. I mean that. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's funny because this is both of our first Metal Gear games.
Yes.
So we have like no history with the franchise. We got kind of swept up. Like, I know I wasn't originally gonna get it because I thought that the open world was too big, or the game was too big, and you weren't originally gonna get it because you had no like lore like background to draw you in. So what were your expectations for the game?
I expected something kind of similar to how GTA worked. I knew it was third person. I knew it was open world. It's just like a super stealthy GTA. You know what I mean? Like you could, based on the GIFs and videos you see, it just looks like you could do whatever you want type of deal. Like I was seeing these absurd gameplay videos with like the deployable men and just like super trollsy. And then obviously like everyone knows Quiet and
that nonsense.
Breasts and stuff. And so it was like, okay, I'm expecting kind of a weird Japan-y military game.
Capitalized weird.
Capital W. The prologue. Okay, actually, let's even step further back. Did you read anything about the previous games?
I did after I was about 5 or 6 hours into the game. I also completed Ground Zeroes, which is like the prologue to this game.
Right.
So that was kind of all I had. So going into the prologue and into the first 5 hours, I had not read any synopsis of what the story was.
I was in the same boat, and I did something very similar to you. Last night, I watched an 11-minute video that summarized the whole franchise. and I left that video more confused than when I came in.
I
Uh,
spent 30 minutes reading like a synopsis that was like written out on Reddit of the
mm-hmm.
like the whole storyline, story arc told in like chronological order.
Yeah.
Fucking dumb, dude. Like
It's
honestly, it's
ridiculous.
like I think people like the story of Metal Gear, like they think it's charming and crazy. It's god awful. Like if you can just like sink it down to a paragraph, which is like there's like this world order that like splits, and this lady named Boss has this plan for world peace, and then craziness ensues as her legacy, uh not predecessors, what's the one that comes after?
And ancestors.
So her like her followers essentially have different ideas of how to achieve that world unity, and that's kind of what the games like revolve around, which like okay, that in its own is like neat, but wow, is that story convoluted. But luckily Phantom Pain is, I honestly like it. I don't at all feel hampered by having never played a Metal Gear game before.
Ben, can I ask you, have you met a Metal Gear yet in your playthrough?
I don't think so. Like I saw you said that you escaped your first Metal Gear. Like I had that cutscene after like the sixth story mission where the hand like lifts the guy
No,
up.
no,
Is
that's
that thing a
not
Metal
fun.
Gear?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, that's what you can assume. Metal Gears are just basically like the giant robot machines that you see in other things.
Mm-hmm.
But
Ah,
yeah, what I will say is like the characters don't really interest me all that much, if I'm being
mm-hmm.
honest. Uh,
I mean, Big Boss has like almost no dialogue. Like
yeah,
he's very like, and a lot of people comment on that how stoic. You know who he is, right?
it's Kiefer. It's Kiefer.
Yeah, Kiefer
Hmm.
Sutherland. That's so
Yeah.
weird.
Uh, I mean, like, yeah, but the gameplay is so good. The gameplay is
It's
so good.
so fun.
It's just you're gonna have a blast no matter what. You just customize every approach to like build and execute your own action movie. Um, it's just great. There's just like so many great, like almost Hollywood moments, like where you're like running away from something and you drop like a mine or a grenade like as you're walking, and then you just don't even look as it explodes, or jumping backwards and then shooting someone as they like find you is great. And obviously like the box is like the greatest
Oh, I
weapon
love the cardboard box.
invented.
It's OP. It's
It's
really
so
OP.
OP, dude. It's
Yeah.
like
It's like a way to get safely spotted.
yes, yes.
Like I never even, I don't know. I'm not super into stealth games, but Metal Gear is so perfect because you get to do stealth for as long as you can,
Hmm.
and then you just go like guns a blazing.
Yeah, and if you fail, like the game's not over. It's like adapt right now.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's
and
you
it's
got
real time.
the game just flips on its head.
Right. And it's thrilling to like look through all the tools you have, your smoke grenades and all that stuff, and like use them and like effectively use them. They're not
Mm-hmm.
just like, shitty weapons. They're like they're required. And
Mm-hmm.
you can feel it when you use it because like the macro game is a lot of fun too when you're managing your base and your resources.
Mm-hmm.
Um
I
it
love.
doesn't it doesn't feel like grindy.
No.
Um
It's fun. Like I love Fultoning people, like recruiting, quote unquote. Like
yes,
Fultoning
yes.
is the most fun like experience. Just
Like
hooking a guy to a balloon and sending him back to home base.
I always say is like, welcome to the team. Here you go.
Yeah, and
Like I've just saved you.
you ever like walk around Mother Base and like hit people and they're like, "Thank you, sir."
Absolutely.
Like,
Thank you, sir. You're goddamn right. That's a thank
they
you.
salute you and like,
Yeah.
it's just such a quirky. Oh, it's so weird.
And it's great. Like, cause you can. What I love to do is when I'm tinkering with like my men or those things, you can listen to the tapes.
Mm-hmm.
They play over it, so you're getting like some lore, um, like and some
Mm-hmm.
personality finally from. I mean, because like Ocelot and Miller are way more interesting than Big Boss.
And I
Uh,
mean, I think the people that really know Metal Gear get a lot out of those tapes too.
oh
Like
yeah, I
Ocelot
bet.
and Miller have so much history.
So much history. Because after watching that video, it's like Ocelot's the bad guy, and down the road, it's crazy. And it's like I like Ocelot a lot, but apparently people, know that
Yeah.
he's gonna be a dick later.
It's
Uh,
very weird that Phantom Pain, the fifth like Metal Gear installment, is chronologically before everything that's ever happened.
I think it's right in the middle.
Mm-mm.
Uh,
It's the very start. Well, I
yeah.
think actually there's like the two Vita games, or the PSP and the Vita game might be earlier.
Hmm.
But no, Big Boss is like comes before like Solid Snake and like
Yeah.
all
I
the
think Snake Eater was the first one.
yeah, which I don't even know what that game. That's not a Metal Gear Solid game. That's just a Metal Gear game, right?
Oh my God. See, I didn't even know that was a fucking thing.
Yeah, so like the first games were Metal Gears, and then Metal Gear Solid was like the start of Solid Snake, who came after Big Boss.
Okay, right. That's one of the clones. We're not gonna get into all
Yeah,
this
and
clone
I'm
bullshit.
probably
It
like,
gets fucking
and I'm
ridiculous.
probably like way off base too, but that's my interpretation.
Okay.
But no, like they say, and Afghanistan is gorgeous. Like I just love the
Dude,
vistas. Like
wait till you get to Africa.
oh, I'm excited. Like
It's a whole different.
I love like coming down the hill onto like the lookout or the village and just
Yeah.
like taking out my binoculars, scoping it out, and like starting to army crawl my way in and just it's like I
Nah, dude.
I I think I said it in the last podcast that you feel so powerful like with your arsenal. You're like Batman.
Yeah.
So that I don't it doesn't stress me out that I'm not gonna be able to handle a situation because I feel like I have the dexterity over
And the
my
tools.
abilities, yeah, to just do
Yeah.
anything. I mean, I've failed like a couple missions. It gets some of like the one level where it was like the canyon thing, like
Hmm.
the where you had to go back into the caves.
Yeah.
It was like the sixth level. I found it to be really tough to stealth that level because eventually I figured out how I could skirt my way into the cave and then start picking people off like that. But it was
Hmm.
such a big open area, like I wasn't gonna be able to. That one was tedious. I guess I'll put it
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, and there's so many elements where you can just adapt. Like
Hmm.
I think I remember that level. Like if there's a sandstorm that hits, you
Yeah,
could just run in there,
yeah.
and that's like holy shit, this is my time, and like now is not a time to be a bitch,
Those
and
are
like go in.
sandstorms are a game changer.
Sandstorms are huge. And dude, you got to get to Africa because when it starts raining and everything's green, it's all like it feels like a different game.
That sounds like a different game. Like
It
I'm
is
so used to the
to
landscape.
desert, and it was like don't get me wrong, Afghanistan was beautiful, but Africa is a game changer.
I can't
Um,
believe how far ahead of me you are. I can't believe I'm 11 hours in and I don't have another buddy yet. I'm so upset.
the D Dog and Quiet come pretty quick, but
Okay, that's what I
so
need.
get in there, get D Dog, get Quiet, go face your first Metal Gear.
When you first saw D-Dog, did you know what to do, like instinctively?
Yeah, because I read a things tips to play Metal Gear Solid, and two of
Okay.
them were like get quiet and get D Dog.
Okay, yeah, because I
Well, yeah,
like
yeah, go ahead.
did you Fulton them or whatever to start?
Yeah,
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 yeah. Like I just knew I like paused and I was like, oh, because I didn't read anything, so I didn't know how he presented himself.
yeah.
And I didn't expect that. It like totally caught me off guard, and I was like, "What do I do?" And then it came to me like instantly, and I was like, "Oh, this is
Here we
awesome!
go. He's
This is
just
so great."
there's probably only one instance where you'll ever be able to Fulton a puppy, and it was just like you
Yeah,
had to soak in that moment where he's just like hanging, looking at you.
he's so well animated. Like
Yeah,
he puts people are already comparing him to the Fallout dog,
yeah,
and he's
dog
a
meat.
lot better. And then the that prologue, dude, the very end.
Yeah,
I didn't know what that was. Like I was like, this game is nuts.
this game is something different.
Yeah, like
Some
it's gosh, I think it's like a 40-hour thing too. I'm excited. Like I'm just loving every second of it. I know I really love a game when I have dreams about it.
yeah.
And I have not had dreams about a game since Bloodborne. And I've been
Mm-hmm.
I've been having Metal Gear dreams.
It's good, good,
They've
good.
been fabulous. I'm glad you're liking it. I'm like super glad that we have that. I'm able to talk about it with someone too.
Yeah, no, me too, me too. It's great. I'm having a blast, and I'm only getting getting more and more tools is just like so much more fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
I imagine it starts to snowball, like almost like every game.
yeah, yeah. I'm getting pretty OP. Like I can
Mm,
handle most situations now, but the game keeps throwing a little bit of curveballs, but it's great. It's
it,
just stuff you gotta adapt to.
gosh, I can't believe you're past me already. All right.
It's been a disgusting weekend, Ben. So let's not be too proud of me because, like my trash can full of takeout food and just that general area was an absolute shit show. But
Living the dream.
living the dream. Uh,
All right. Well, let's move on from Metal Gear then.
sure. I watched two movies this past week, and they're both good in their own way. Have you heard of a movie called The Man from Uncle?
I don't think so.
It's a Guy Ritchie movie. It's his movie. It's his latest movie since Sherlock Holmes.
Why is it PG-13?
Uh, that's irrelevant because The Man from Uncle has been one of the most pleasurable movies I've seen in a very long time.
Do you like it
Um,
more or less than what was the other British spy movie?
uh,
The
Other Guy Ritchie movies, you
no
mean?
no the one with
Oh, Kingsman.
yeah. Do you like it more or less than Kingsman?
I think I liked it more than Kingsman.
Wow. Okay.
Um, and it has to go to its two very charming leads. I mean, Guy Ritchie, you could sniff this movie as a Guy Ritchie movie from a mile away if you saw Snatch or Lock, Stock. It's got like the same like music, the same just like pure style and just how interesting the characters he makes are.
Mm.
Um, so I mean, it's got Superman Henry Cavill in it as like a womanizing charlatan turned spy. Have you watched Archer at all?
Only when you were watching it in our old apartment, so
He
not really.
is he is Archer incarnate. Like
Mm.
he's a wisecracking, woman banging, like asshole dick who's so charming and good looking. And the other guy is Army Hammer. He plays this Russian ticking time bomb of Soviet rage. And so it's during the Iron Curtain, and this American and Russian spy have to work together. And the sheer chemistry these two have is absolutely mesmerizing.
That's a neat
It's
concept.
it's so much fun. It's great. Like, and the humor is so dry. It's so British humor dry that you could drink a water. You could drink a cup of water and still be parched, basically.
I need to
Um,
add that to the list.
it's good. It's just such a surprise. Like the movie didn't do that great in terms of getting money, and it's such a shame because like it could easily be a franchise. And
What made you watch it?
uh, I don't know. I wanted to watch Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
And me and some coworkers were like, let's go watch a movie, and we just picked one out
Mm.
that we I don't know, but it's great. And I read an interesting fact that Henry Cavill nails it. Like he's a really good actor. And I read some trivia saying like this he was glad that this movie didn't ask him to take his shirt off because he wanted to be like so much more than like that villain scene in
Typecasted.
Superman, yeah. And he really does kill it. Like he is so charming. Um,
That's probably one of his first shots to play something different, right?
yeah, and he did a really good job.
Oh yeah, he was in Immortals. That was a terrible movie.
Ugh,
It was so bad.
yeah. The other movie that I watched was Paper Towns. It's a John Green movie. You know, like The Fault in Our Stars or Looking for Alaska.
Ah,
Um,
did you
so
cry?
I did not.
Oh, I
Uh,
wanted to see this.
yeah, it's got Cara Delevingne and Nat Wolff in it. Um,
I love
and I just
I love coming of age tales.
Yeah, and that's exactly kind of what I wanted to talk about. It's like a mini topic, really. Like the Nat's character, the male, he's kind of like white bread. He's setting himself up for his future, high school, college, job, wife, etc. And then Cara Delevingne's character, Margot, is like the girl next door with a mean streak that kind of turns his head upside down and tells him to like grow a pair and like live a little. And
Mm,
like it's weird when you watch these movies now as an older person and it's like do you watch it with like a degree of cynicism that says
it's not that
like
easy.
yeah, it's like it's not that easy. Like, you know how it is in real life, or do you kind of like take the leap of faith and just like get feel nostalgic about your teenage years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And because it was weird, because I was initially like annoyed with Margot when she was making fun of him for like planning his future. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. This like Carpe Diem or Youth Antics. I don't know. It's a little.
I definitely think it's like a time right now where those kinds of things are hitting us very hard. Like, I mean, obviously we're early 20s, like recently out of college, so like our perspective is almost like I don't know, jaded. Like this is the first time in our life that we've had this kind of structure, and we don't really see how to break any kind of funks. And um, like I remember my first day of work, I felt like I saw a ghost. I was like, is this the next 45 years of my life? Like, I mean,
Dude, don't say it like
like
that.
obviously it wasn't, but you're just everything feels forever.
Yeah, I know.
Like, and it's like I have no jobs to like this is my first job, so like I have nothing. Like it feels bigger than it maybe should, and I different like we're also at an age where everyone's graduated college. I know people that just went and traveled. I know people that are married and pregnant. Like I know people that
Getting
are
married.
yeah, like I it's weird to watch like rewatch these coming of age movies because it makes you reevaluate more. Like when you watch that when you're in college or you're in high school, and
It's different.
it's very different. It's more
It's so different.
it's more fun. Like
Yeah.
because the world is your oyster. Like everything like oh I could do that or I could do that
Right.
and
I like it's you put yourself in these kids' shoes versus watching them from like past that age, you know?
yeah like and you start to like you're it's more of a reflection on decisions that you made instead of like excitement about the unknown.
Yeah. And that's really what I wanted to talk about. Like the movie was like fine, it was okay,
Mm-hmm.
but I felt these feelings and I was like I want to explore these feelings.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, it's I mean I listen to things that talk about how like just don't settle for anything like travel, don't worry about money.
mhm.
Um like and I try to feel like what would make me happy. Like obviously I want to get the most out of my life, but I don't know if I'm the type of person that wants to go to Thailand for 6 months and backpack. I don't know if I'm the type of person that wants to start his own company. It's a lot of trying to figure that out. But when you watch these movies or read these books, or even I'll talk later about Harmontown, that make you think about these things. It's like right now.
Yeah.
You can make those decisions now. So it's like, shit. I'm sleeping with my eyes. I'm like laying in bed with my eyes open, just like oh.
Yeah. It's like oh man. But yeah, and then I wanted to briefly cover Aziz Ansari's new Netflix show, Master of None. It's a very Louis-esque comedy with Tom Haverford's or Parks and Rec's Tom Haverford in it. Did you watch Louis at all?
I watched like the first 3 episodes and it was too dark for me, which is crazy because I love
Yeah,
really dark things.
yeah,
I guess it's not that it was too dark for me. It's just that I didn't necessarily connect with his pain,
yeah.
which is whatever. But yeah, that's
I
fine.
mean, it's very similar. It covers a lot of like social norms, and like
Mm,
it just calls them out. It's slightly depressing, like Louis was. Louis was really depressing.
yeah, yeah.
And it's just like super awkward, cringe humor, with some deep cuts about life. I'm pretty excited to keep going.
Is it a
Out,
Netflix show?
it's a Netflix original, yeah.
How many episodes are out?
I don't actually know that.
Dude,
Um,
Netflix is cranking. Like
they
they're
are
cranking out. Like you can't even. It used to be you knew every single Netflix show, but now there's so many that.
There's so many. Like my sister keeps telling me to watch Narcos. I never finished Marco Polo. I mean, they got Jessica Jones coming out later this month. It's just like there's a lot of good shit coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll eventually check that out.
Oh, Master of
And
None was 2 days ago. Wow.
yeah, it's
That's
very new. And then you can have your pick. I just want to talk about one of these TV shows: Walking Dead, Flash, Arrow, Supergirl. You
Supergirl.
pick. Okay, Supergirl slightly picked up from episode one. I mean, pilots are a little bit rough. Um,
Which is weird to me. I don't know why pilots are rough, but they are.
yeah, because you have to fit a proof of concept in, and then it doesn't flow well for like the pacing of the story because it's so fast paced.
Oh, you're
Uh,
right. That you just totally answered my question.
I mean, some pilots are great. Like the Walking Dead pilot is one of the greatest pilots like anyone will ever see.
Yeah.
Uh, just nailed it. But other ones are a little bit tougher. But it's coming around. Melissa Benoist is a lot of fun to watch. That's who plays Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
She loves it. Gosh, the problem I'm having with this show is that it should have a higher budget than Flash or Arrow, but it looks a lot worse. Um,
Hmm.
which is crazy. They need to get that together or something because there are some. One of the key fights this past week was just laughable.
And I imagine that show is maybe not as campy as those other two that you mentioned, so they can't get away with that kind of thing, or do they have more? What's the tone of the show? Is it at all serious?
From right now, it's less serious than Arrow. Maybe more serious than Flash.
Hmm.
It's kind of in between.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a little roof. It's a little roof. But I'll keep eyes on it and let you know if it gets better.
I'm interested to see. I'm like really interested to see how it goes. I just know it's not might not necessarily be for me, but
Oh, I know. And but it's interesting to because like what happened to Constantine on a major network superhero show. Like Flash and Arrow are totally at home on the CW, but
mm,
Supergirl, which picked up huge numbers its premiere, I didn't actually look at its numbers for its second week. I just it's an important precedence if we're going to see more or less of these types of shows on bigger budgets on bigger networks.
yeah, and like just the proliferation of these comic personalities is really interesting to me because like they're definitely needing to find new ways to put new spins on the stories, and then just I don't know, I'm a little bit interested to see like the staying power as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice. I played a lot of games this week. I played a lot of Metal Gear Solid. Super Meat Boy. I'm in the fourth out of five zones. I'm getting to that point
Oh shit.
where uh it's getting really hard.
Oh no.
Like it used to be like anywhere between 30 seconds to 3 minutes to beat a level, and now it's like a good 5 minutes per level.
Mhm.
Which yeah, it's like
I
elation
mean,
when
5 minutes of
12-second
just
runs.
twitching. Yeah, just
Yeah,
twitching just sounds exhausting.
it's exhausting, and like yeah, the elation of beating a level is great, but I got a lot of games to play, and like it's just I'm not necessarily one to want to hit my head against the TV for like 30 minutes if I'm just dropping around for a quick play.
How many? Yeah, no, I hear you.
There's about
I was gonna ask how many hours have you put in probably for that game to get to 4 out of 5?
probably three or four. Not a
Okay.
lot, not a
Yeah,
ton, not a
that's not bad.
ton. It's like but it is getting like it's definitely an exponential curve in terms of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
They really like start to lay it on. Like I want to say that every single level I've done is harder than the first boss. Like definitely harder than the first boss.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, Metal Gear Solid obviously is just like we talked about it. It's
Yeah.
honestly I'm just in awe at that game. Like it's just
Yeah.
like it's so funny to me that gaming spans such a broad scope. Like that thing is a many
Different
million
animal.
dollar like budget flash masterclass like just thing. I'm just super impressed with it.
And I know we're playing on different consoles. You're playing it on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
The load times on the console are very short.
Okay, cause yeah, I was like, I can't even think of a load. Like
Yeah.
everything just plays.
I'm sure yours is incredibly fast, but like on my end, it's not very slow. Like you think back to Destiny or Assassin's Creed, those load times are cringing.
Or Bloodborne.
But God, this game, I don't know. It looks beautiful and it's running beautifully.
It's so well
Um,
optimized.
it's just oh God, it's setting a standard for sure.
Yeah, like I don't. I just it's fascinating. Just that something could be so big and so beautiful and so weird and so
Put together.
open sandbox. Like it's it's magnificent. I finished Ballers, which I'm kind of embarrassed about. Not embarrassed about, but like I've been like not I did not like that show. I mean, it's like
Yeah, you can finish your opinion on it now. Is how
yeah.
I would say.
There you go. That's good. Yeah, they were like 10, 30-minute episodes. It did get better.
That's good.
I think one of my problems going into it was I thought it was a comedy. Maybe I don't. Is that the public perception of Ballers? That is a comedy.
I have no idea. That
Yeah,
would be my perception of it, only because you talked about it and you kind of called it a comedy.
yeah. Like I think, in my opinion, it's not a comedy. Yeah. Like so, Ballers on
A
Wikipedia,
dramedy or
it says it's an American comedy television series. They sell it as a comedy. To me, it's like much darker and more serious than that. And they do start to play off that more towards the end, and actually like feels like a drama.
mm-hmm.
It did get better. I did start to enjoy it
That's
towards the
good.
end.
That's good.
Still think that show could be a lot smarter based on the content. I watched Harmontown, which is like a documentary about following Dan Harmon as he travels the country on a tour doing his podcast called Harmontown,
Mm-hmm.
like live, like in comedy clubs. That guy is he's like the Steve Jobs of comedy. Like he is intense, he is brilliant, he is ruthless. And there was several phases of the documentary. Like one was just his like eccentric persona. The other was like they were kind of interviewing fans and like kind of like seeing why people gelled with him so much, and it was all these kind of misfit people like who didn't really know that they thought they were alone in the world, and they really connected with his just nerdiness. Like he describes his persona and his fans and what he tries to accomplish is nerds full of love. Like, and you get that from Community. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all like just the love between all these kind of just goofy people. And I mean, there's a girl that had Asperger's that like kind of poured her heart out to him, and like another person who never thought that she would have the um, uh, bravery or just never thought she'd even be able to tell him in person how much he meant to her, that she thought she'd be too
Mm-hmm.
scared to, and like just her telling him that was like she was like overcome. So it's
And he
almost
embraced it. Like I don't. What were his reaction to these types of things?
it was like classic Dan Harmon. Like the girl was like, I was diagnosed with Asperger's like 3 years ago, and he's like damn, I'm jealous. He's like
Yeah.
that's a great diagnosis to have. Like as like a positive joke, but like kind of in like a it's a funny it was
Yeah.
like a funny way, and like I mean he's hugging everyone, like he called himself like his hugs grow on trees and stuff, and I mean he very much likes to please his fans. But then also like you go back on the tour bus and you see his darker side. Like you see his self-doubt, you see him like drinking vodka soda after vodka soda, you see him like emotionally abusive towards his girlfriend who's just like obsessed with him. um and I don't know, but then like one of the people on the I can see like your face of like discomfort.
Yeah.
It's a
It's.
heavy documentary.
I mean. I mean, from what I've heard is that he's abrasive. He's very abrasive, even to his fans on Twitter. He's he's abrasive.
Yeah.
I,
he
I keep using that word, but that's the only word I can think of.
and he like acknowledges it like in the
Yeah.
show. Like he's like woken up like sober at one point, and they're kind of interviewing him, or he's talking about like the fight he had with his girlfriend, and he talks about like how his eyes can just like go dead, and he can just like penetrate people like and very quickly capitalize on like their biggest insecurities. And he talks about how like he gets off on it, like, and
Yeah.
how like for him it's kind of like a defensive thing. Like he talks about how he was kind of like abused kind of like as a child, like how his dad
Sure.
like wasn't really there, and like his or like would hit him with the belt, or like his mom would just like slap him and stuff, and it just like he's like heavy, like he's just all in one, this like very interesting figure. And obviously Rick and Morty's exploding right now, so I was just kind of interested to see. I mean, it was just a well received documentary also, and it was very like touching, like it just made you think about life, like and honestly it made me like feel like it was very cathartic in that I kind of saw that even like when I'm down on myself or when I'm feeling judged or whatever, that like everyone has problems and like everyone's just trying to figure this stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
It had, I mean, I really was just planning on watching the first 15 minutes while I ate breakfast, and I watched the whole hour and 45-minute thing. I couldn't stop
Mm-hmm.
watching. So I watched Harmontown. I
Do you
played.
have interest to see more of his works, like finish Community or watch Rick and Morty
I want to watch.
after watching this?
Yeah, I do. I want to watch Rick and Morty. I have no interest in finishing Community. For me, I always loved Community. The second season of Community to me is still the best piece of comedy ever.
Mm-hmm.
In my
It's
opinion,
great.
I just thought that season was absolutely brilliant. But I just don't like the train wreck that show's become. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
The Office. Like I still think those for earlier seasons of The Office were brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Carell never stopped being Steve Carell. Well, I guess he left at the end, and like, but yeah, like I kind of just I have a precious memory of Community. I don't really want to see
Yeah,
the
it's better up here.
yeah, like the no Donald Glover, the like
No Chevy Chase.
yeah.
It is slightly sad after this sixth season when like there's only four or five of them left.
It's just
But
weird, yeah. Like
it
I
is.
just don't need to continue
But
on.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The sharpness of his writing is still there, though.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of Dan Harmon, you would still be a fan of it. But if you're a fan of Community, it is a rougher road as a
Mhm.
whole. But if you are gonna get into Rick and Morty, you are in for a ride because that show is so sharp. It is so hilarious. And it is so much more than just like fart or burp jokes.
It's a big
Uh,
deal right now. Like it is
mhm.
really like hitting people hard.
It is. It's great. It God, God damn it. It makes a joke that it's gonna take a year and a half for the next season. Um, and it just reminds me of someone like tweeted at him saying like, "Why is it gonna take like another year and a half, Dan?" And he like responded like in like all caps because like we're too busy fucking your mom or some shit like that. It was just like,
Jesus.
what the fuck?
Oh, Dan Harmon.
Oh my goodness. But no, I'm
Also,
excited.
yeah, that's the other thing is watching the documentary. He's like 40 years old or something. He looks like he's like 55. Like he
He's
just
42. I'm looking at his bio
yeah,
right
he
now.
just like is really like not taking care of himself. Uh, but yeah, and then I played Thomas Was Alone for about an hour before this podcast, and that's like a magnificent little puzzler. I'm like honestly, this is kind of an example of me trying to catch up on a backlog. Like Thomas Was Alone was like 2012, or, yeah, 2012. It's just kind of like a legendary puzzler game about like these shapes that you solve puzzles with, but there's this narrator that gives this personality to this little red rectangle, and
That's great.
it's like kind of set inside a game. So like the narrator is like they show quotes from the developers, like fake developers between acts, talking about how like they can't stop the AI from generating, like they're trying to shut it down, and like new shapes as part of your like posse keep coming and helping you solve puzzles, and it's really
And
good.
you're the rogue AI? Is that what you're saying?
Essentially, yes. Like
Yeah.
you're the shapes in the game, and
Mm-hmm.
like you're kind of inside this world, and these shapes are like trying to figure out who they are and like trying to get from one place to another, and like it's I think I don't really know. I'm probably wrong, but my interpretation is that the developers are trying to like shut it down, because they
Mm-hmm.
can't stop. They can't figure out really with these bugs that keep coming up, which so you're kind of like traversing in that manner. It's really good.
Very cool.
It was
Yeah.
on a Steam sale for like 4.99 or something. It's for everything, obviously. I think I mean PlayStation 4, Xbox, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was long, Patrick.
We went long. We had things to talk about.
We had things to talk about. Let's get to some current events.
Okay.
That's my. I need to do a current events countdown thing. Anyway, King was acquired by Activision Blizzard for $5.9 million. Huh. Okay.
Wait a minute. How much?
5.9 billion. Sorry.
I was gonna say. I was like, hold on.
Did I say
wrong.
million? Oh no.
You said million.
King Digital Entertainment was sold for 5.9 billion.
Here we go.
To Activision Blizzard. They are the famous makers of Candy Crush Saga and like 10 other Saga Match 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like reading their list of games. I'm just like, how are they worth $5.9 billion?
From what I read earlier this week, I think Candy Crush makes them like $1.5 or almost $2 billion a year.
Mm-hmm.
Candy Crush alone, I think.
Yeah.
So that is hefty.
I mean, they have 1,400 employees, so they're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see mobile games, like how much money they are generating. Like you mentioned before the show that Minecraft was like the biggest gaming property of the decade, was acquired for only a measly $2 billion by Microsoft. Yeah.
Activision is big. They make big games, but they're not Microsoft big.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They are combined with Blizzard, but yeah,
they are combined with Blizzard. That's true.
They're not Microsoft big.
And it's crazy. I mean, you just think about Zynga, the Zynga acquisition or something like that. You know, the guys who did Farmville isn't that Zynga?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's just where did Farmville go?
Words with Friends.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They absorbed. Or maybe not Farmville and Zynga aren't the same thing, but basically all those giants. Words with Friends was a giant.
They did do Farmville.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like microtransactions are very lucrative, and it's a lot of like, and gamers are like worried about it. Like even Metal Gear Solid has these stupid fucking like microtransaction things, which that's another weird thing about Metal Gear Solid, because you don't have to interact with that stuff at all. Like it feels so half-assed, like their like multiplayer thing that they're trying to do. It's so like almost like pulled in through the back at the last second. But no, I mean you saw it with the Overwatch zeitgeist on the internet. Like these models are capitalizing on people's impulses. Like the gaming addiction. If you can try and tie that addiction to bringing dollars out of people's pockets, there's a potential to make a lot of money. Yeah. But shit, like
it's a big deal.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of money being thrown around.
So yeah, we'll see. Nintendo's trying to get in that game, so
yeah, we'll see.
BlizzCon.
Woo!
We're like not the biggest Blizzard dudes, but we dabble. We played things. Overwatch, obviously me and Christian were going nuts over last time. That was kind of the big news story in my opinion, but that's because I'm just reading the Overwatch subreddit. They announced it was $40 on PC, $60 on console, and not coming to Mac.
Is it strange that I'm slightly more excited now that it's going to console?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if that was misplaced or not, because I am more interested now that it's going on console than I was knowing it was only PC.
It's the perfect console game. Honestly, I was hoping Christian could be here today so we could talk a little bit about that, because he felt like Blizzard it didn't really make sense. Like, why wouldn't you drop the consoles before you made the Mac? And Blizzard doesn't traditionally make console games, but like that is literally, in my opinion, only because the nature of the games they made couldn't be played with a controller. Like World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Warcraft,
or not Hearthstone.
Yeah, Hearthstone. Like the first game they made that could be played with a controller, Diablo, was put on consoles, and it's like, of course it's coming to consoles. Like consoles are like one of the next news stories is the PS4 is 30 million units sold. Like You make
It's
a
unreal.
you make a badass game that is a shooter with very simple mechanics, like three buttons. Of course,
Easy
they're
to
gonna.
learn, hard to master, but yes, it's
Yeah, like it feels right at home on console. So I think most people I don't think it's too big of a surprise. They've been designing that game for console since the beginning. Obviously I don't think uh it will be competitive. I guess like that necessarily won't impact the competitive scene, but it'll be interesting to see how it does too, because games like Titanfall and Evolve, multiplayer only $60 games for console, did not do particularly well. People don't really
mm-hmm.
like paying $60 for a multiplayer only game.
Mm-hmm.
But this game has a lot of promise, and I think yeah, it's something to be excited about.
The question is, which one are you gonna buy it for?
PC, yeah,
PC.
for
I was
sure.
just curious.
I don't really like, part of why I'm so excited about that game is the esport aspect.
Gotcha.
So I gotta get it on PC.
You got to be on the most competitive edge.
Yeah. But no, it's cool. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of am less surprised that it didn't go free to play, just because like Blizzard's not really set up like that. Like they don't I don't know if they were trying to like do the whole skin thing that Dota and League did. I don't know if this game particularly lends itself as well to that, cuz you're not looking at your own character kind of thing. Like in Heroes and MOBAs, you're literally staring at your awesome skin the entire game, but in a first
Yeah.
person shooter, like you're the only one that doesn't see what you look like.
Yeah.
Um and then also just they like and like Call of Duty or Counter Strike, you're able to like add skins to your guns and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very cheap for Valve to do little edits like that and raise some money. But something like Overwatch, where the every single hero is so custom crafted, it's not as simple as like a plug and play like tiger print on your fucking arrow that you shoot. I don't know.
I still think, don't get me wrong, you're right that they might not lean a crutch on skin customizations, but I don't think it's going to stop them from doing it.
Oh, for sure.
Because, I mean, they already announced the Overwatch Origins Edition is going to have 4 or 5 skins for some base characters.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
they're definitely not opposed to doing that, even though you're right, you don't get to look at it probably other than the choose a character screen.
And like
Which is kind of
sometimes,
funny.
yeah, like some abilities force you to go into third person and stuff like that.
Yeah,
You'll
there's
see it
4 seconds
then.
of fame, but
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think they're trying to pick a model that works best for the game, which I think is great. They're not trying to shoehorn, uh,
right,
like they're actually taking the game as the driver for the pay model.
right.
Did you watch the Warcraft trailer?
I did.
I didn't know what to make of it.
I just thought it looked awful, in all honesty.
I
Or generic, I guess.
I'm kind of with you. Like I was like after I watched it, I was like, okay, like that was pretty freaking cool. And then then I thought about it
Forgot
more, and
about
I
it.
was just like,
Or
it looked
not even thought about it. I just forgot about it. It's like,
yeah.
uh,
I watched it just before the podcast. It kind of looked to me like a lower budget Hobbit. And
yeah,
I didn't even like the Hobbit.
yeah,
Like it's harder for me to connect with CG characters in general.
right.
And this was like it was a very polished like CG demo, but it's a tough sell.
It is, and I talked to my friend who's very much into the Warcraft lore. He played WoW a lot and stuff, and he was very upset with it too. He says like there's a lot of potential, but like there's a lot of fans out there, and it's the same with comic book movies. You have a very rabid fan base that, like, if you're not appealing to them, uh, then like I don't know how well you're gonna do, because it wasn't an amazing trailer to someone who is not familiar with Warcraft at all,
Yeah.
you know. And I feel like a lot of the name drops and the visual drops that my friend was talking about are important to those Warcraft player fan base. And I mean, he was upset that one, it's covering from what he knew, it's covering like Warcraft 1, which isn't a great storyline as compared to like Warcraft 3, which has an incredible storyline, but
My impression too was that it did touch on some vanilla WoW stuff.
mhm.
But it is earlier on. I mean, I know for me, I had no freaking clue what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't really know what this world is about.
Right. I
Um,
mean, and if you looked at like the cast list, you'll since you play Hearthstone, you'll recognize some of the names like Grommash, Hellscream, Gul'dan, but
Gul'dan.
but you but you don't really know the context of these characters. But like from a casual fan, it's like, oh, cool, I'll finally get to see what Grommash, Hellscream's his lore is about or what Gul'dan's about.
Mm-hmm.
'But I don't know. It's an important movie too. I mean, there's
Yeah,
video game movies have historically not done very well, so we'll see how this one goes.
they just announced a Witcher movie.
They did.
Yeah. Um, Dude, I got back to my roots and watched the StarCraft finals, World Finals.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
It was fun because I was watching it with the StarCraft like grandmaster players that I'm friends with, and we went to the gaming bar. That was it was too crowded, so we went back to their apartment. I liked it more because they were so into it. Like they were like, "Oh, he's going like tunneling Claude Roach. Like that's such a weird strategy for this reason." And it was a best of 7 that came down to game 7.
Oh, nice.
It was
Those are
really
the best
sick,
series.
yeah. And it was like two legends, like two people that even
Hmm.
I knew from my time. It was cool to see. I didn't even catch what you just deleted.
It's okay. It's not worth talking about.
Oh yeah. So PlayStation announced this week that they had 29.3 million units sold, or it might have been last week.
Hmm.
Crazy. Like I want to say that's faster selling than. I think it's the fastest selling console other than the Wii. It might even be ahead of the Wii right now.
Hmm.
Which is interesting. I mean, the dead horse has been beat that, yeah, like before this console generation, people were worried about consoles. They thought they might be dying. Yeah, we know PlayStation 4 is doing really good. Like, why is this news? I thought it was just crazy because, I don't know, it just means that gaming's more popular than it's ever been before. And
Yeah.
and there's still a thirst for hardcore games. Like, people aren't just leaving, they don't just need a mobile or an iPad.
Yeah.
You said.
I mean,
Oh,
I'll
sorry.
talk about like because I was gonna talk about it a little bit later if we got to the topic. My coworkers have been invading my apartment to play Rocket League.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's the primary reason I've had to buy two other controllers. It was so we could play 2v2. But a lot of these guys that I'm playing with are not gamers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's just crazy that they have this mindset that the PlayStation is like better in like every component, and they don't know really why, but they're like,
Better than the Xbox.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it just is like because they all talk about, dude, I gotta go get Rocket League now. It's like let me look for deals, and then they're just talking about the other games, and when they're like, well, why don't you get an Xbox? They're just like, well, the PlayStation's better, apparently, isn't it? It's like selling more and more people have it.
Yeah. They
And
are.
like it's just like that kind of stuff that like snowballs it. Like I'm talking 3 or 4 people who might have a PlayStation by the end of the year
Yeah.
in
They
just
are
one room.
killing the PR battle. Like
Hmm.
literally the day that gamers backlashed against the Xbox when they announced like the DRM policies, the always online policies,
Connect attachment
connect
requirement.
attachment, like they lost millions and millions and millions of dollars. Like it's unreal how bad the PlayStation is stopping the Xbox. And like I was reading the news article when I was going to grab the 29.3 million units sold stat,
Hmm.
and one of the comments was like, "Well, duh, because Xbox has no exclusives. Like they are, like how could they catch up?" And that's the crazy part is the PlayStation has not had a single first-person exclusive in the year 2015. They've had zero, unless you count Uncharted Collection, which
What
is
about Bloodborne?
it's a second-party exclusive.
Oh, okay, I
Like
see what you mean.
so they
Sony Sony made, yeah.
Yeah, like they not a single one of their developers put out a game this fall. Like they have two main exclusives, Until Dawn and Bloodborne. Like, and Xbox has Halo, Rise of the Tomb Raider, Fallout comes with Fallout 3, Forza, like Xbox is doing just like they have everything, and they have a way better media presence. They have less hardware strength, but the PlayStation is killing it. Like everyone I know is just like it's not even like once you capture the spirit of the hardcore gamers, like it just trickles down from there. Like casual gamers just have zero interest in doing any research. I don't mean that in like a derogatory sense, because like why would they? Like they're gonna be fine either way. They don't need to do that. Like they're just
All
gonna.
it takes is one headline they might have saw.
Yeah.
Like like numbers, and it's just like the decision's been made.
Yeah, like the perception is already there that I guess I just get a PlayStation. Which is important. Like it's really important how bad the PlayStation is killing it. It's one of the reasons why I got a PlayStation. Like if PlayStation has sold more than twice as many copies as Xbox, developers are going to make it their flagship system. Like every game is going to run better on a PlayStation, not just because the hardware is better, but because they're going to
tailor it that way.
Yeah, like you want to optimize it for the platform that has the widest reach. If you're an indie developer, you only have the resources for one console, you're going to choose the one that has 30 million people that could buy your game. They're going to get more leverage for exclusives. Like it's going to snowball, like you said, to more and more success. And it's good for them. Like they told the tale.
And it's good for us, Ben.
It's good for us. Yeah, it's interesting though. Yeah, it's definitely good for us. I mean, I love my PlayStation. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I with Steam, I'm getting into Steam. I feel like I'm watching the console wars from a less personal level. But and then I'm interested to see like what the PlayStation 5 would look like. I mean, just given the PlayStation 4 success, because everyone just thinks that the console is not really necessary because you can just stream from your computer, or it's going to be cloud-based in the future, or they're limited. But I don't see that happening just with Sony coming out with VR stuff and their 11 first-party developers and all that junk.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping I'm not hoping that we get, similar time span as the last generation, because I mean, like it just when I'm telling it to my other coworkers, it's like this is gonna be a 6-7 year investment in entertainment box that you're gonna love, it's gonna just run you the distance, so you might as well get in on it now. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm all pro for new and improved, but I'm more than happy with what I've got right now. It's like everything I need. Music player, media player. It's just I don't know. I'm PlayStation circle jerking it right now, but
which is good. I mean, you're happy with your system.
I'm like so happy to come home to my TV and just like turn on my PlayStation. It's a great sound.
And like, I don't know though. Like, I really do think the console cycle is gonna be shorter this year or this time around, because when the Xbox 360 and the PS3 launched, like they were pretty close to hardware powerhouses in terms of just raw computing power and video card and all that junk. But the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One were kind of considered underpowered when compared just to the PC market. And just the way that technology is advancing. I don't know. Maybe like there will be like a PlayStation 4 iteration. Like they already did the terabyte. I don't know if you want to split your user base, but it's hard for me to imagine 5 years from now, like the consoles being able to handle kind of the cutting edge. But I mean, the 360 and the PS3 figured it out. So
I mean, they did. You look at a game that was made in 2008, and then you look at The Last of Us on PlayStation 3 in its last year. It's an incredible difference.
It's a good looking game. It's a really good looking game.
I mean, just versus like what the best was offered. I mean, you could, even when you eventually get your hands on the Uncharted Drake collection, like the disparity between the first and the third are phenomenal.
Did you see that it was $30? That was a new
eventually
sale.
got to 30.
I think I'm gonna hold out for 20.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, with Black Friday coming up,
yeah.
it's. I mean, God, and just I don't know. One last thing, like these bundles that are already coming out makes me super jealous that I bought a PlayStation as early as I did.
Dude, I don't want to hear it, man. I
It's
bought a
just like,
$500 Xbox One. I do not want to hear it.
all right, we'll move on. We'll move on. Holy shit!
um, I'm interested to see your next. So this is bullet imminent Fallout 4 release. I was trying to consider if this was news or not.
It's not. I just wanted to talk about it. I didn't know if that was in my thing. So Fallout 4 comes out next week, and the internet is exploding, imploding on itself.
Mhm.
Do you have a changed opinion on it?
Yes.
You were at a so-so, but you were interested. You were very interested.
Yes. I am less interested. I've kind of fallen off.
Wow.
Yeah, like so for me, like I was kind of wrapped up in the hype and like how I could see, like I could feel how excited people were about this game. So it was like I didn't really know what it was. Like it was before it was real.
Hmm.
And like I I don't know. I maybe it's just because I didn't know much about it, but now that I'm like watching like Fallout 4, like there's actually people streaming Fallout 4 right now on Twitch.
Hmm.
You can like see what the game looks like and how it plays. I'm kind of getting the impression that Fallout is the kind of game that it's probably an unpopular opinion, but it's the kind of game that does a lot of things, but none of them well.
Hmm.
Like the game, like the gameplay in terms of like the shooting looks like rough. Like obviously RPGs don't hang their hat on the shooting mechanics, and like honestly, like I mean everyone knows the internet's saying it doesn't look that great. Which is I don't really care about that. Like not for a game like Fallout. And then yeah, like the story is interesting, but I is it something that I want to put 60 hours in to find out how good the story is? Like the Witcher story is good, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like people are ready for that universe.
Yeah.
The reviews are gonna be out tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pacific. I'm interested to see how well it does, but just in my watching people stream Fallout 3 and reading about it, uh, thinking now that I'm gonna instead of pick up Fallout, just try and get further in Metal Gear.
Okay.
But you were the opposite of me.
A little bit.
You were
I
not
am buying.
interested.
I'm finally buying into the hype. It took me forever, and I'm starting to feel. Mind you, I've not done the research that you've done. I haven't like watched people, but it's I don't know. It's not as. It's probably in the same level of interest as Metal Gear. Like everyone loves it, or we don't know yet because the reviews aren't out. But everyone's talking about it, and I'm sure I'll see it on the internet, on Reddit, on our gaming and stuff. But it's one of those games that, because I remember a couple of weeks ago you asked me like, "Are you gonna get it?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah, like just
I was
like
just like,
you were in
"No."
a bad mood though. You were just
I
like
was just like, "No."
you're just like get out of here, get out of my
Yeah,
face with that
it's like
Fallout
I'm
junk.
not gonna fuck around with that nerd shit.
I don't even want to talk about it.
But it's just like something that if it dropped to 40 after reviews come out on Black Friday or Cyber Monday, then I would probably pick it up. Uh,
It's gonna be great. Like obviously I'm being kind of hypercritical, and that's all.
mhm.
Like we've talked about hype many times. Like it's a legend of a game, and Bethesda has been working on it for years. They don't just
And mind you, they announced it this year too,
which is
so it's just like,
awesome, super awesome.
hmm.
It's gonna be like a good game. Like it's well worth 60. Like I don't think that I would pay 60 and be like, oh, like this is no. Like it's just not that kind of game. It's not a risky game. It's just something that we want to think about critically because of how it's just being postured as like a game of the decade kind of game.
Right.
Which honestly, I'm starting to realize that there's been like 5 game of the decades this year. So I need to calm my britches.
You're losing credibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Losing
I've
credibility.
had this conversation with myself several times. I am excited to see like what the reviews are. I am more excited about. I would say I'm more excited about Rise of the Tomb Raider than
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear.
Or excuse me, Fallout 4.
Fallout, yeah. And I'm just loving Metal Gear too. But no, I saw that Rise of the Tomb Raider doesn't come out on PC till spring. That's January, whenever it is. For some reason, I thought I was gonna be able to pick it up on Steam. But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think I'll probably play it, Fallout, if I like the
when
streams.
the time is right.
Yeah. Will you be
When
ready?
the time is right.
Sorry. Throwback to maybe think of the Viagra commercials. Dude, which topic should we do?
It's up to you, man.
We only got time for one. Let's do your topic since we touched on things about it in this episode.
So my topic is the role of your friends in choosing and playing games. And I'm gonna start off with a tangent here because when Rocket League came out, Ben, you were all over it. You enjoyed it. It was like your top. It was one of your weekly things for like 2 weeks.
I love Rocket League.
I had it, and I didn't touch it.
Yeah.
I didn't load it up. I played the beta. I got the gold nugget antenna that says you played the beta, but I wasn't like that impressed, or I wasn't like that interested. And then like I found out that my coworkers like they wanted to try the game out, and they invited themselves over, and then it just something sparked in me. That I really started enjoying the game.
It is a game that is at its best when you play with friends, though. Like, I was introduced to it playing with people local multiplayer. Yeah. And when you didn't have that, like, that's to me understandable.
Yeah, no, and that's great. And did you play? And like, I have one of these follow-ups here. It's like there are several things you can do after you've played it with like friends. You can play it like solo because you just enjoy the gameplay. You can play it solo just enough to get better, so when you play with your friends again, you're like better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you like only play it when you have or when you've got your friends over.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, like I played it a little bit solo to get better, so I can beat my friends. But I don't know. There's just other. I just wanted to talk about other games that do have this kind of effect. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's like I think that it's changed. Like when I was a kid, I never played games by myself. Like I was never into single player campaigns. It's not that I didn't even I liked single player campaigns, but I loved playing with my friends. Like I loved Super Smash Brothers sessions. I loved Mario Kart, Halo co-op. Those were the only games that I played. Like if a friend didn't want to play it, I didn't play it. That's become very different as I've gotten older. I don't really. It's like obviously we're not all in the neighborhood anymore. Like we're like our schedules are all very different. I've kind of adapted to play less multiplayer games and try not to have my fun be contingent on anyone else's like availability.
You're right.
Still love playing with other people, but it's nicer and more comfortable to like allow myself to get excited about single player games and know that I'm gonna be able to have that time and that like introspection, and I enjoy it. So like right now, like I mean I'm stunned at how little we play games together. Like
it's incredible. It's almost like we're trying not to.
It's stunning. Yeah, like I mean, and we both have PlayStations and we both play MOBAs and like
both have computers.
Like it's interesting. It's less than I would have expected. So like to me it feels like role of friends is like nothing, and it's it also kind of reminds me of music, and in that like you kind of want to. I'm kind of in that phase where I'm trying to discover things for myself. Like if you tell someone like, dude, you have to listen to this track, like this album, like it's amazing, it's so good, like overhype it. Like I was like, you just don't want to listen to it. Like
because it'll mean nothing to you.
Yeah, and you didn't.
If they're still there while you're listening to it, it's the most awkward thing in the fucking world.
Yeah, and like you didn't discover it, and like I don't know, it just frames your perspective on the game. It's like, oh, Ben already told me about this part, or blah blah blah. So like what was I gonna say? So like, yeah, so like I even like with Metal Gear, I was like terrified of even like asking you if you were gonna get it, or like with like I feel like in general, I know that like you have to like when you talk about your friends with games now, like not now, and this might be just because I'm stupid or people are stupid, but I don't necessarily suggest too many games, and like I try to like walk a line. Like you kind of have to trick people. Like you literally have to kind of trick people. Like plant a seed.
Gotta hook them in.
Yeah, like plant a seed without being heavy-handed.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's interesting.
I mean, I see it as it's obviously a culmination of things. It's never just like that one friend who single-handedly got you into Rocket League. It's or even Metal Gear. It's like the reviews were great, the media coverage on Reddit is great. That's what I classify as media coverage now, by the way.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't even realize that you wrote down the music analogy.
I did. I was like, I was gonna bring it up, but like,
I didn't even
you
see
pretty
that.
much nailed it.
I did not even see that.
And then like the reviews and then the Amex points, everything just like lines up, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, well Ben did play it. It wasn't like Ben played it, so I'm gonna get it. It's like, well Ben's also playing it, so that's another pro.
And I'm not like that guy that played all 7 Metal Gears and is like,
right,
like you like just like I have no claim to Metal Gear. It's not like
right. I mean, it would be, I don't know. There are other examples. I mean, Christian and I will never not tell you to play through the Mass Effect trilogy, even though it's like just no one wants to sink it in 90 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But
I saw that it is it was on sale on Steam.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I was thinking about it.
Oh gosh, oh man.
Like I think I'd rather play Mass Effect 2 than Fallout at this point.
Mass Effect 2. Yeah, skip 1. You don't need to play 1.
Yeah, that's what I read.
It's not like Uncharted. Like Uncharted, and Uncharted is another big one. I'm sure like you got a culmination of ideas from me recommending it, the internet recommending it,
podcast that I respect.
Greg, yeah, the podcast he respects, and it's just like, and then when the price lines up, you're gonna get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And like I'm like you asked the question, games played only because your friends got you into it. Like I'm writing them down as I think of them. They're like my favorite games of all time. like and it's not because like I didn't mean to be like heavy-handed earlier that I mean yeah, everyone's a little bit stubborn, but no, like we are all passionate about like sharing this kind of thing, and like you can't. Yeah, I trust your advice 1,000 times more than Reddit's advice. But like StarCraft I got into because I was watching my roommate play it. Halo I got into because I slept over at a friend's house and we played it, and I was like, whoa. Last of Us I got into because you had a PS3 and you were like, dude, like I had heard about it and I asked you about it and you were like yes, and
dude,
like
I always say this, just play the first 45 minutes, bro.
Dude,
just complete the prologue and then you're set. You're done.
Even like that first cutscene. But so yeah, like I think that both of us would not have gotten as far in League as we did if we didn't like have each other to sound off playing it, which is all the more impressive that Alex is like still carrying the torch into the jungle.
He is ruthless, or not ruthless, relentless. Thank you.
Yeah.
He is relentless. He's got the heart. He
Yeah.
just has to realize that it's not gonna happen for a while.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I definitely just think there's been a little bit of a transition to single player games. For me, that has kind of changed my thought on this. Like I don't want to just play multiplayer because I feel like I'm just getting more out of single player games.
Right. I mean, and you brought it up earlier, like back in the day when you had whole summers and you're like, hey, come on over, I got this new game.
Time Splitters 2.
There's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff out there. But it's crazy because I do have friends who come over, and it's because my apartment is the most furnished out of all of our apartments, and they live in the same like block as I do.
Yeah.
And they'll just come over and like watch me play Metal Gear. And it feels like back in the day when like single player games, you would like go to your friend's house to watch them play single player games.
I have watched friends play Metal Gear 2, like Kingdom Hearts. I remember like
exactly. And you watch them play FFX a little bit too.
Yeah. I remember
not maybe interestedly or intently, but it happened.
Yeah, like I remember being in 3rd grade and I would go over to I'd walk over to my friend's house, and he had like a PS2, and his older sister would play Kingdom Hearts or Metal Gear, or any of the Final Fantasies. This is like 19. It's probably like the year 2000 or something. When's third grade? How old are you?
Um,
I have no
I
clue.
have no context on this type of
13
thing.
is eighth grade, so I guess yeah, like 8 years old. And me and my friend would just
That doesn't sound right.
thir-
Eighth grade and 8 years old.
no, so 8 year olds if eighth grade is 13, then third grade
Okay,
would be
gotcha.
eight.
We're on the same page.
Yeah, yeah. So like me and my friend would just sit in the corner quietly because she would yell at us when we would talk, and we would both go to the bonus room and watch her play these games for hours. Like I mean, it's like Let's Plays. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
but more
it's
fun.
it's a social and it's funny because like I'll bring it up because I beat FFX 10, which is a story for another day. But it
Hmm.
was only because my friend sat there next to me and said, "We're gonna finish this. Like, there's no backing out. We're gonna sit here and we're gonna grind." And it's just like I wouldn't have done that if he wasn't there.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's not just a friend's role in like choosing games. It's
How you
I
play
don't know.
them.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you
Um,
still be playing ARAM without my? No, I'm just kidding.
without your input,
Without my
probably, probably.
my scathing insults.
Yeah,
Every
yeah.
time I hear you say dailies, I shake my head and I
I
say,
know, man. I've gotten off the dailies machine myself, so
until the next fix.
till Destiny 2.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, no, like I played a game of Heroes because I wanted to try it out with you guys. You downloaded Guild Wars.
I did download Guild
It was
Wars.
honorable.
I
You got.
played probably like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh wow.
Christian's not here, so I can absolutely shit on it without being retaliated on. No, I mean it's. I didn't play it enough to see what the big deal was, but I kind of got a gist of how the game went.
I mean, yeah, like we all. It's funny too how like tastes evolve and like everyone has different tastes
Hmm.
in games. Like the idea of MMO like is just very unappealing to me, or like me like trying to talk to you about Gears of War versus God of War is just yeah, everyone has very different
Yeah.
like sensibilities, and like that's a good thing and that's fun, but it's fun when we do all like one day have a game that we all want to play and like get together and do it, but
That day does not seem close to any future whatsoever.
um
Because Overwatch, I can't
yeah, I think it'll come out for
jump league
PC
anymore.
eventually, but um
You are optimistic.
or
But
Mac, yeah. It's just like it's just you're just leaving money on the table. Like it just doesn't make any sense not to bring it to Mac. Like more than ever, like they supported Mac when there was no Macs, and now Mac is like a huge bite out of the market. So it wouldn't really make sense to me to never bring it. But yeah, I mean, I definitely kind of want to choose games that I know that we're all playing because it's more fun to talk about it.
Yep, I agree.
And we'll get another Dying Light one of these days, or Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
You can help me platinum
I'm pretty sure, unless they patched it, I could probably kill her. But my rust is probably what's gonna kill me.
Well, no, because we did it on a random dungeon, not on your own.
Oh fuck, dude.
So we would never. I that like if we were in your dungeon, I would have been bugging you about it a long time ago. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well, I'd
no.
have to clear your dungeon.
Which me and Kent did over the course of like
Oh my god.
forever. It took
Yeah,
us.
no, those 2 and 3 bosses are fucking nightmares.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
Cool. That's a good topic.
Yeah, that's fun.
All right. That's going to do it for this episode of The Queue. Hopefully Christian will be back next week. Thank you so much for, just chilling with us. Audio comes out usually late Sunday, early Mondays. We could really appreciate any feedback you have on iTunes. It really helps us out. It kind of boosts visibility. I'm not sure how we do keep gaining new viewers every week. I want to say it's SEO or even recommendations, but that would
We'll
really
take
go.
it.
It would go a ways if you wanted to rate us on iTunes. We live stream the podcast every Sunday afternoon, typically at 4 o'clock on twitch.tv/theqpodcast, at fig_TV, at cmonkey2eyes, and at freebrunch on Twitter. Farewell, travelers.
Bye, guys.